That's why the Bible said that the children of God perish because they lack knowledge. So a man can be glorified, but he won't walk in glory if he doesn't know how to translate from justification to glorification. And the first thing he needs to have is knowledge. The moment you begin to grow in knowledge, you see that glory begins to issue out of you. He said, we are with unveiled face, beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord. We are changed. We are changed from one level of glory to another. So knowledge is prime in this kingdom. But knowledge is not the only thing that brings us to glory. The second thing that moves us from justification to glorification is to walk by faith. If we don't know how to walk by faith, although God has glorified us, but glory will appear far-fetched. This is why you see many believers, their lives look so pitiable, and you are wondering why. Why are they like this with everything Jesus has done? Is it that Jesus came to die in vain? No, he didn't come to die in vain. The problem is that they don't know how to apprehend what has been made available. First, they don't have knowledge. So although they are God's people, everything God brought was for them, but they can't walk in it. Then number two, they can't function in it because they don't walk in faith. The Bible speaking in James chapter 1 verse 6 and 7. It says, any man that wavers is like the wave of the sea that is tossed here and there. And he said, let not that man expect to receive anything from God. He said, for an unstable man he said, for a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So people who don't have faith, who don't walk in faith, the Bible said they are tossed to and fro like the wave of the sea. It said, although God has much to give them, they can't receive it. You remember, Hebrews chapter 11 verse 6 said, anybody who comes to God must believe that he is, and that is the rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So if you don't walk in faith, you can't receive what God has made available. This is why the Bible is admonishing that the justified must live by faith. This is one of the scriptures that is written verbatim 4 times in scriptures. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4, the just shall live by faith. Romans 1:17, the just shall live by faith. Galatians 6:11, the just shall live by faith. Hebrews 10:38, the just shall live by faith. Emphasized 4 times, because everything in God that you will enjoy is tied to it. If you don't function by faith, you cannot enter into the glorified order of life that God has prepared for you. It's too important for us to master the way of faith. And so tonight, my duty is to show you in a very simple fashion how to function in the faith of God that is already in your spirit. Because when you read the Bible, you are going to discover that you already have faith. Faith is not something you struggle to have. You could not even have had it on your own. There is no way you can come about faith. Faith had to be given to you. So your job is to understand how to walk by faith. Your job is not to understand how to create faith. You can't. Faith was given. So every one of us seated here already has enough faith to raise the dead. Every one of us seated here already has enough faith to do any kind of miracle. That's why the Bible told us to live by faith. It didn't tell us to create faith. It didn't tell us to produce faith. We can't produce it. He only told us to live by faith, because faith was given to us. Our job is to learn how to live in it. Just the way a child could not have given life to himself, but it's the job of the child after he's born to learn how to live. That's why the moment you give birth to a child, that child starts looking for what to eat without going to a school. It's his duty to learn how to live. You have been given faith. It's your duty to learn how to live by faith. So the charge of God is for you to learn how to live by faith. Let me give you a few scriptures quickly. 2 Corinthians 4:13. The Bible said, according as it is written. It said, they believe and have spoken. It said, we having the same spirit of faith, we believe and therefore we speak. That's Paul talking. And then when you check Paul now told us the faith that he has. The same faith they had that he was referencing. They having the same spirit, we having the same spirit of faith. That means Paul was referring to some people, that these people already have this faith, and we too have this faith. Now when you check this faith Paul was talking about, it wasn't Paul's faith. Galatians 2:20, Paul made us understand that the faith he possesses was the faith of the Son of God. So the faith every one of us have does not belong to us. It's the faith of Jesus that was given to us. Our duty is to learn how to walk in it. Nobody could produce faith. At best you are going to produce confidence, but confidence has no foundation in the spirit. Faith is a reality that was put in you from Christ. It's the faith of Jesus that the apostles had. It's that faith that Paul had, and it's that faith that we have. So Paul said they have that faith, we also have it. And then when you probe into that faith was the faith of Jesus. So what Paul was saying was that Jesus had the faith, the apostles had the faith, we also have it. Are you seeing the logic? Now Galatians 2:20, I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. I live by the faith of the Son of God. So when you read the Bible, you are going to discover that all the giants were just learning how to live by faith. Faith was given to them. Their job was to understand how it works. It's just like you are given a car. You may trek all your life. If you don't learn how to drive it, you may not have money to buy the car, but now the car has been given to you. So if you are trekking, it's your choice, because your job now is to learn how to drive. Faith has been given to us. Our job is to learn to walk by faith. So the crisis of many believers is a lack of understanding of walking by faith. Paul said they have it, I have it, and what I have is not mine, is the Son of God's, is the faith of Jesus Christ. And then you go to 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 1. Peter now confirms it. Look at the way Peter put it, writing to the whole church now. So this is not something for the apostles, this is something for the whole church. It said, Simon Peter, a servant and an apostle of Jesus Christ, to them that have obtained like precious faith. So he said the whole church have the same faith that I have. It's a like faith. It is a precious faith, but it is alike. It is the same faith. So the faith Peter has or had is the faith that the least person in the church had. Why was the manifestation of Peter different from the church members? They didn't know how to live by faith. Peter walked in so much of this faith that his shadow was raising cripples. Meanwhile, another believer was the cripple. And Peter is saying, this faith I have, that I'm raising cripples, is the same faith you have. Now what was the difference? They had no understanding, and they were not walking by faith. If you go to Romans chapter 12 verse 3, that's where the whole argument ends. It was as salvation that this faith was given to all of us. Romans 12 verse 3. Please write these scriptures down. Make it your meditation. The reason I'm teaching on faith boosters is to show you how to walk in this faith, because many don't know they already have it. When there is a challenge, they are looking for faith giants. All of us should be faith giants if we make a practice of walking by faith. I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to, but to think soberly, according as God has dealt unto every man the measure of faith. He didn't say a measure. He has dealt unto all of us the measure. That means everything your life requires to live glorious was captured in that measure. So Paul is saying there's no point one person being proud over the other. Anything you are manifesting is in the measure, and that measure everybody has it. The reason you are manifesting it is not because you are special. You have just understood how to walk in it. But what you need to understand is that everybody has that measure. So this is what Paul knew. This is what Paul stumbled on. Oh, this faith was not for a special few people. It's the same faith that they have, that I have. And Peter corroborates it. That is the same faith I have, that the whole church has. And that faith is the faith that Jesus had. That means whatever Jesus did, we can do, because he did it by that faith. So John 14:12, Jesus was talking, and he said, the works that I do, he said, you shall do also, and greater works, because now you don't just have faith. I'm returning to the Father to stand for you. So you have an advantage that I didn't have. You have my faith, but now I'm standing with the Father, procuring mercy for you. So in case your faith fails, I will come as backup. That's why when Peter was about to be taken by Satan, in Luke 22:31, he says, Simon, Simon, Satan desires to have you, to sift you like wheat. He said, but I have prayed that your faith fail not. And when thou art recovered, strengthen thy brethren. So you and I even have an advantage over Jesus. Because if the faith of Jesus had failed, there was no backup. But in your own case, you have his faith. And even if that faith is about to fail, he said, I am now with the Father. I will not let it happen. So do you see why everybody must rise up to begin to walk in faith? You must walk in faith. You should walk in faith. It is one of the strongest forces of the spirit realm. But this is the problem with many believers. They have not understood the equation that makes faith possible. The faith of Jesus is a simple faith to operate. And if you must operate that faith, there are few things you must resolve and conclude in your mind. Because when you are walking by faith, you quit looking at yourself. If you start looking at yourself, you will fail. Because what you are walking with does not belong to you. Every man walking by faith looks outside himself. He looks at the one who gave him the faith. So for you to function in faith, there are three questions you must answer. Number one,